All right, here we
Welcome
go.
all.
We are live. Another episode of the PCFP from a new location,
Absolutely.
the Florida room.
Absolutely still in the
sick.
prison over here. I'll get out eventually. Got just close to only a year left in the prison.
There you go. Are you still there for? I
Yeah.
thought you had one more semester. That was it.
I'm probably going to have to do a fall semester next year too. So,
He said begrudgingly.
yeah. I mean, I'm down because I'm going to get to call more football games next year. So that's going to be pretty legit.
Get more tape.
Exactly.
More of that and
build
one
that reel.
tape. Yeah.
So I still got to download the first one from last weekend. I had some solid calls in there.
There you go. And boom goes the dynamite.
Bang!
Did you see RG3 just like drop the F-bomb on Monday Night Countdown the other night? He was like, what the
that doesn't
fuck
surprise me. He
I feel
said
like
some wild things.
Yeah, he is.
Last year, he said some wild stuff we cannot say, but
yeah, it was one of those things you just saw. Like whoever he was on air with was just like, he's like one call away, dude. He's gonna like make a joke about the Israeli and like Palestinian war, and that's gonna be the end of him. He's gonna say something.
He just lets shit fly, which I respect.
Like, you would think this guy
shit fly.
Yeah, he'd be like, you think this guy's on the front line the way he is just launching this thing. They're going to be like, all right. You didn't play well enough to warrant you saying these kind of things.
That is true. Hey,
he does
I'm pretty sure he beat the Steelers, though, when he came in as the backup for the Ravens one year, so.
Yeah, in the COVID year.
Yeah.
No, I think the Steelers won that game.
So that was pretty...
No, you're talking about the year he was a starter against the Steelers on a COVID game that took place on like a Tuesday or something. And you guys beat him.
Us.
You beat him.
Nah, I swear he beat us because
Lamar
always loses.
He beat you guys Lamar's MVP year, and he was starting the last game of the season because the Ravens had already like clinched the 1 seed. And so he was in. Yeah, and he won that game.
Yeah, I just remember him. I don't know what game it was, but I just know he beat us as the fucking backup. And it pissed me off because we always lock up Lamar, but the backups for the Ravens come in and they just become the next level gods against us.
They turn it up. The Troy Smiths and the Ryan Mallets of the world.
That's just what happens in that rivalry. Because, like, we used to trot out Charlie Batch every now and then against the Ravens, and he would always somehow pull out the dub.
Dude, you know why? It's because everybody around them, like, steps their game up. You know, it's like one of those things. Yeah, like, that's a real thing. Exactly. That's not just, like, things that people make up. It's like everybody on the team feels like they have to be, like, absolutely perfect in order to win the game. So, like, the Redskins had that happen to them a lot, like when Colt McCoy would come in and they beat the Cowboys on Monday night. Like that's like his like famous moment. And it's because everybody around, like Jordan Reed was making like these spectacular catches. Like it's just everybody around him plays that much better.
It happens way more in the rivalry games. I feel like when someone goes down in a rivalry game, you're like, hoorah! And then you get like 3 turnovers.
Yeah. It's like high school football all over again, dude. These guys are like, I am my brother's keeper.
Who's got my back against your back?
We must protect this loss.
Oh, dog. You hate to see a good old Ravens Steelers game back in the day. Quarterback goes down. Ray Lewis is like, my brothers, it's time to make the stand.
Dude, I love when Joe Flacco would talk about Ray Lewis's speeches. And he would always say, like, if you listen to what he's saying, like, none of it makes any sense.
So, who was it? I think it was Shannon Sharp. It was like, I know Ray's secret. He just stole every line from Gladiator.
Honestly, you do that, dude. Any Ridley Scott movie, you start stealing lines from, you'll be fine.
Thought if you're stealing from Gladiator, you're definitely winning.
Yeah,
That shit's
Gladiator or like The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
The Dark Knight's got
that
some.
is true.
Why do we
I
fall?
was born in the dark.
Yeah, dude. I used to anytime I would get like in the doghouse at my parents, I would pull out Thomas Wayne's line, the "Why do we fall?" so we can learn to pick ourselves back up. I would always say it to the point where my parents were like, "All right, you need to stop saying that."
Every time a girl hurts me, I'm like, you know how I got these scars?
I hated my father.
We should probably get into the predictions.
Now let's just keep talking about movies.
Yeah. So,
what do we got this week?
Germany, 9:30, kicking us off strong tomorrow. Dolphins at Chiefs. I thought about changing my pick because of Mike McDaniel's hit like a passionate speech about loving Tua and all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was told, people in the room almost started crying by how passionate his speech was, and I was like, God damn, they might come out here and win. But I'm rolling with the Chiefs still. I said last time the Dolphins played a good team and they failed me again. That I'm off the bandwagon that when they play good teams, they're going to lose. So I'm taking Chiefs 31-27. Tyreek's still going to ball, though.
Yeah, the Dolphins seem to, because they've had the Eagles, where I put all my money and faith in them to win that game. And they came out and didn't play terribly, but Philly really dominated for the most part, besides like 2 drives. And then obviously the Bills game, they got stomped. And so like anytime that they're playing a team that's like of equal or more talent than them, they seem to falter. And that could just be like the trials of a team that's like just now becoming really good. And it's not always going to work right away. So yeah, I got I don't see Kansas City losing 2 games in a row, number one. After last week's debacle in Denver.
The debacle in Denver. What a
debacle
what
in
a
Denver.
title.
There we go. And yeah, I mean, we've talked about all year, is Kansas City is for the first time winning with their defense, and they're not really flashy on offense. But yeah, I think it's more of the same this week. And I've been saying over and over again, they need to try to get Pacheco going. They have the offensive line to do it. And I think if you're able to utilize him not only in the passing game and the rushing game, in the rushing game and the passing game, it can really kind of bring your offense to a new level, and take a little bit of pressure off of Kelsey, who has to pretty much seem to do everything. And yeah, I got Kansas City winning this game 28-20.
Yeah.
Surprised they didn't go out and get a receiver. Really surprising.
Yeah, same, dog. Bob should have made the call. Devontae Adams. Give up the Nets 3 first-round picks. They can't say no.
Yeah. And how about Vegas? How about Josh McDaniels getting fired in the dead of night?
Yeah, dog. Just trick-or-treating with his kids. Maybe they wanted him to make a move, and he didn't make a move. And then they just were like, this dude has no plan.
I think it's just like after
he's bad.
The catastrophe that he was in Denver the first time around, and like all he got was negative reviews from players and staff, and like players saying that he didn't respect them. And like, why would that guy get a second chance? And like, it seems to be a recurring theme with guys on Belichick's staff, like the Belichick coaching tree. Like, if you look at the Belichick coaching tree, it is not good. It's like him, Brian Flores, Matt Patricia, and all 3 have gotten like some kind of just out of this world like review from players who were on their team. Like Patricia would straight up like call guys trash and shit, like to hit their face, like when they're in the locker room. And I think Danny Amendola, it might have been, said that
that's
like
fucking coaching.
Like Danny Amendola said something to the fact that he said, "You're nothing without my system," or so. It was something crazy. And it's like I feel like these guys come out of Belichick's system where Belichick's style works and like he knows what he's doing, and then they try and do it and they're just assholes. And it's like, and then it's so they just look like asshats.
Yeah, it's hard to establish that Belichick system anywhere else. Like, I'm sure like him going first into it too, like different time. Also, like he probably wasn't as much of a dick the first day.
Yeah, for sure.
But moving on, 1 o'clock window. This one, I changed my pick to because they announced the starter for the Vikings, and I have no clue who it is. It's some wild-ass name. Not wild-ass name, but it's just a nobody. Vikings at Falcons. I changed Falcons, or I'm going with here. I just think not starting Joshua Dobbs off rip is going to hurt the Vikings here. I just feel like whoever's going in there is not going to be a good distributor of the ball unless he comes out and surprises the world. But rolling with the Falcons, they have a lot of talent on that offensive side, and their secondary is pretty nice. So I think they're going to probably get a couple turnovers in this game and just kind of pull away late as they do. Falcons tight victory, small, but they get the job done. 27-21.
Yeah, it's interesting. We got two guys. The Washington Commanders' very own Taylor Heineke starting for the Falcons.
And so it's Heineke more than Ritter.
Yeah. And Jaren Hall starting for the Minnesota Vikings. Very hard for a quarterback to come into a new team and completely learn a new system and actually look competent, like within the first, like, he's been on the team for what, like 4 days? And now if things go really bad for Jaren Hall, maybe you see Dobbs come in and just like run like 14 plays the entire game. But
Baker did it on Thursday night last year.
But he was already in the system. Like he already knew, he had like some kind of knowledge of what they were doing. And it's like Josh Dobbs is coming in and like completely cold. Like it's really hard to get him caught up. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Heineke's always good for like 3 or 4 starts that is just like electric, and he'll lead you to where you need to go. He can lose you a game. That's the big thing about Heineke is like as much as he can win you a game and be like you're like, how the hell did he do that? You can also be watching and be like, why the hell did he do that? And I think the Vikings win this, or not the Vikings, the Falcons win this game in an ugly fashion. I'm going to go 20-16 Falcons. That defense is really good. Secondary, like you said, has been very staunch. And the Falcons are really like the case of they're like a quarterback away from being a really good team. Talent on both sides of the ball. And who knows, maybe this is where, Heineke's able to kind of take a next step. He's by no means a starting quarterback, but he is by all means viable to win games.
Hey, Dodge, he almost pulled it off against Brady in their Super Bowl run. I don't know.
He did.
I just trust. This is one of those games where you got to just trust they're pretty even on both sides of the ball when you take a look like everywhere. But then you just gotta, in this type of game, choose which quarterback you trust more.
Yeah. You know what I'm surprised by is that the Vikings didn't sign Colt McCoy. Because he's just out there on the street and he's familiar with Kevin O'Connell's system. Like he's worked with Kevin O'Connell before. So I don't know. Like when you're looking for somebody to take over like right away like that, you want a guy who has some kind of familiarity with like the terms and stuff. And I would think Colt McCoy would be the easy answer, but what do I know, I guess.
I don't know. Joshua Dobbs is like a certified rocket scientist or something like that. Like he went to
very smart
school for like rocket science. So I think he'll be able to learn astrophysicist. There we go. So I think he'll be able to learn some football plays.
You would think.
You would hope so. Like Bears at Saints, you got Baguette starting again. Spread's like 9.5. I mean, the Bears, their defense still has been playing well, but it's hard to carry that bad guy to victories when he's really not that much. I think he came out of Shepherd, and the Saints defense is really good. I think this is going to be a big Alvin Kamara game once again. They're really relying heavy on him, which I appreciate. Makes that fantasy draft pick look like it was worth it. But I got the Saints basically running away with it 27-14.
Yeah, and it's a lot of backup quarterbacks right now. And yeah, I mean, the Bears kind of did exactly what you would think they did last week against the Chargers. And it seems like the Chargers try so hard to lose games. Like they try so hard to like blow them.
That's coaching. That's coaching.
Yeah, and the Bears just would not let them. But yeah, I think this is a pretty easy win for the Saints, even though Saints are just underwhelming. Offense just looks clunky and like it can't get anything going.
It's that whole NFC South. Besides the Panthers, they're dog shit.
Like every single team is like a different variant. Like it's almost all the same variant of the same like archetype.
They're all missing a quarterback.
Yeah, and like it's all like really good defense, horrendous offense, and I think it's very clear that Derek Carr is kind of washed at this point. I know you're a big Derek Carr guy, but
oh no, I've hopped off. But I mean, who knows? He picked it up last week a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he can. Chris Olave also has been stifling. Like he's been.
He disappeared.
Yeah, he's not. He had that drop last week, like wide open. But yeah, I think the Saints win this game reluctantly. I'm going to go 23-13.
Yeah. We'll always know they have it, but they'll let the Bears be close enough where it's like, oh, maybe.
Yeah, it'll be like 13-16 for a long time.
Another underwhelming game right here. Rams at Packers, and I'm not sure about Stafford right now. Have you heard an update on Stafford, or is that game time?
It was a thumb injury, right?
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything. Let's take a look.
This is
unlikely to play versus Packers.
Oh, shit. Well, I'm going to roll with it anyways. Jordan Love will fuck this up somehow. Rolling with the Rams to win here. 21-17. I don't really have reasons to defend it anymore. Besides that, their receivers are pretty loaded with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Tutu Atwell is pretty solid as a slot guy, but he doesn't get a lot of touches anymore. But whoever comes in as their quarterback, do you know who their backup is?
Brett Rippon.
Oh, Brett's going to be ripping the ball all over the field. So they're going to win 21-17.
Yeah, Jordan Love has really been underwhelming and one of the many people this year who is kind of making me look like a jackass because I thought he was going to really pull away this year, and I really liked some of the stuff I saw from him, and I think he's got such natural arm talent, but man, he is just interception city, anything past 10 yards. And I mean, you just can't do that in the NFL. And yeah, it's in Lambeau. That's the other thing that's kind of like leaning.
They are favorites.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Packers win this one. I'm gonna go 18-14.
That's a beautiful game.
Mm-hmm. A lot of ugly scores this week.
Another weird one here. And by weird, I mean it looks like a team should win. It's going to be the Commanders at Patriots, but somehow the Commanders are dogs in this game in Foxborough. But like, I don't understand.
Not terribly surprising.
Are you really? I think you guys are way better than the Patriots.
Well, number one, it's like you're always going to have the Belichick effect. He's always kind of somebody that you can't like rule out as a huge factor, being the best coach ever. There's also that crazy stat of him versus first-year starters, and he's like 29-9 against them. But to me, that stat is skewered because, like, how many of those? I'm going to guess about, what is that? Like
29 of them.
Yeah, 29 of them have been against or been with Tom Brady. So, a lot of those kind of Patriots stats are a little bit like, all right, but like, what are we talking? Are we talking about the 08 Patriots? Or are we talking about the 2022 Patriots? And
Exactly.
the Commanders right now, they're in flux, obviously trading Sweat and Chase Young. But the weird thing is, and this is kind of one of those things where the complaints in the building where Chase Young was an undisciplined player and that he was kind of going off of his assignments and he was just always trying to make the splash play. And whenever he played, the defense seemed to suffer. Like they were giving up a lot of yards. Right now they're like 31st in yardage or something like that. Like they're in the bottom half of the league in every like stat basically. Now when he gets out and when he's been out past few years from injury, the defense has actually played better. I'm interested to see what the new starters, former backups in Casey Toohill and James Smith-Williams can do off the edge. I think now that you have Sweat and Young gone, Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne will be able to kind of flex their muscle a little bit more as the premier defenders on that team. And they do really well against stationary quarterbacks. And there really is not another stationary quarterback in the NFL, much like Mac Jones. So I think the Commanders win this game. And I think the offense takes the step that we've been waiting for, which is showing that they can play at the level that they played at last week consistently. Because they keep doing this thing where Hal will have a great game and then he follows it up with a game that makes you think he deserved to be drafted in the 5th round. But last week seemed like a really big step due to the fact that he only took one sack at the end of in the 4th quarter. And that's huge. So if you can game plan around him, get the ball out quickly, which I think they will, then you should be able to beat this Patriots team who's lacking a lot of talent. And they just lost Kendrick Bourne for the season with a torn ACL, and he was like their only really flashy receiver. So I'm going to go Commanders win this thing 28-14. 28-17.
Yeah. 31-17 Commanders for me. Patriots just, besides the one time against the Bills, they're not going to look good this year. They're pretty shite. They almost threw that Bills game away late. Matt Jones, I mean, your defense should look fantastic this week because Matt Jones has been just constant regression. There's 3 years. I mean, it's gotten a little better from year 2 to 3, but that's just because he doesn't have a defensive coordinator calling plays anymore. But still, it's awful from him. Too many turnovers. Plays way too loose with the football. Forces way too many passes. So I think the Commanders are gonna be happy about the changes that happened, and they're gonna win 31-17. Sam Howell's gonna have a great game.
And the report out this week from Diane Rossini was that there's many people in the building who believe Sam Howell is the quarterback of the future. So I'm a believer. I don't know. Like, it's one of those things, like, you have a new owner. You're 99.9% chance you're going to be looking at a completely new coaching staff next year. So I don't think there is this, like, what's the word? Like, you're not, like, attached to him, you know? Like, that you don't need to come out and be like, we believe in him. Like, he is the guy. And I think, obviously, he has shown huge flashes. Last week was the biggest, like, just going toe-to-toe. Should have beaten the best team in football. Now, you can make that argument that it's a division game. Same argument you can make with the Patriots with their win against the Bills and keeping it close with the Dolphins last week is those division games. You never really know what's going to happen. But, we'll see. Tomorrow is a big day for him. really big day. He needs to follow up that Philly performance with another really good performance, because at the end of the day, this season is all about his development at this point.
Oh. All right. One of the games of the week. Seahawks at Ravens. Going to the bank. I'm going to pitch against the Ravens here. Mostly because I want them to drop a game so the Steelers are just a half game back again. But I do think the Seahawks
we do need to talk about that Thursday night game at some point. I know you're rip-roaring ready to talk about that game.
Oh, absolutely. But the Seahawks, they have what it takes to beat the Ravens. They have a good secondary. Lamar tends to make a lot of mistakes against better defenses. I think that D-line has been improving and getting pressure, and bringing in Leonard Williams will help out a lot with hopefully containing Lamar. This is one of those games where if you can't stop Lamar, though, like with his legs, mostly just his legs in this game are the scariest thing to the Seahawks, because I feel like you can lock up most everything else. I don't think Gus Edwards is going to have that big of a game, especially with the addition of Leonard Williams up front. So I'm rolling with the Seahawks. I think Geno Smith has a solid enough performance against a really good defense in Baltimore. They're fucking ridiculous right now. 27-24, Seattle. Please. There's not a lot of games the Ravens are going to drop this year.
Yeah, I think Seattle is just one of those teams like where it's like, and obviously people know this, but when they're playing in Seattle, they're like a different team than when they're on the road, and they're still a really good team. If this game was in Seattle, I would be picking the Seahawks, but going into Baltimore,
the bang.
Yeah, I think the Ravens pull this one out. I think we saw 2 weeks ago when Detroit went in there, I thought they would come out and fairly easily beat the Ravens, and it didn't happen. I think the Ravens win this game. I think they win it fairly handily. I think Geno's going to struggle in this game. Because for whatever reason, it's like the Ravens are on that same thing that the Commanders are on, where it's like every other week that their offense is able to kind of put it together. So I got the Ravens winning this one 35-20.
Yeah, this could be a blowout for the Ravens.
Because I just don't know how good the Seahawks actually are either. I can't really tell. Their defense seems legit, and that secondary is really good.
Oh, they've hit on every draft pick in that secondary.
Yeah.
They're building the next Legion of Boom up there.
But it seems like Geno's kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes he's really, the past 3-4 weeks, it's been is this the old Geno coming back? Mm-hmm. He has a decent amount of turnovers, especially in that Bengals game. I was so mad at him about that game. They drove to the red zone 4 times at the end of the game and just couldn't finish any of those drives.
That last play was maybe one of the most pathetic plays, where he goes to throw it and he just boom, just rocked right away.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Fucking terrible. Moving on. Bucks going into Houston to face the Texans. Rowdy Houston crowd probably right now. Actually,
they're ready to rock.
Never mind.
What do you
mean? The Astros are not fans of the Rangers.
No. I was like, why are they excited? Just because the team's decent?
I fucked up there. I know my sports, I swear. A less excited Houston crowd.
In fact, they're probably pissed.
Yeah. I mean, they're probably hyped that they have a decent football team faster than they thought, but besides
it's looking good, yeah. And I will say, I went down there last year for Texans Commanders, and it's a cool stadium, and it's the crowd did it was I'd say 60% Commanders fans at that game, but their fans, they had some, they're ready. I think
they're ready
when they're
dog. Never forget the J.J. Watt days. Turn down for Watt movement. That place was fucking going wild.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely have the ability to kind of crank it up.
No.
So you weren't too far off.
Yeah, definitely not. But wrong reasons, terrible reasons for what I was thinking. I
They're
got
pumped
too
about
into
the
the
old
flow of
Fortnite
things.
map coming back.
Yeah, we're pretty pumped too.
No, that's Kyler Murray. Sorry, he's like, yes.
Is that the Tyler's just in gaming all week. Dude, no way
Kyler's
they're
been
winning.
taking a hammer to his knee, trying to like re-injure himself. He's like,
it's like, God damn it! Fuck! Right when I get healthy. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. They got a better. I think their defense is gonna confuse Stroud again. I think he's kind of feel like he was riding pretty high, and now he's kind of taking a step back now, like rookies do. I feel like after a couple games, the NFL adjusts. And last week against the Panthers team, you could see the adjustments were made to him, and like just put him on clamps all game, 13-15 type game, where he lost to the Panthers to give them their first win. So I'm going with the Bucks. They're gonna probably keep biting me in the ass, rolling with them, but 24-20. I just think they're way too talented. If their quarterback was more stable, I'd have way more faith. But I think Baker Mayfield gets enough done to beat these middling teams.
Yeah, I feel like the Bucks are due for a win. Like their
Mm-hmm.
last week was a tough one against the Falcons, and then
did
they play the Rams the week before? Was that the week before that they played the Rams? But they've just had
I thought they might have played the Eagles recently. They've had a tough
played
stretch.
them like week 2.
That. Week 2, that was?
Yeah, it was like week 2 or 3 that they played the Eagles.
Damn, I'm stupid.
But it catches up with you, man. I remember the other week where I was like, it was like week 6, and I was like, all right, week 3, here we go.
And then you just got teams you don't really follow too much because they're not interesting.
Yeah. And the Bucks are like the pinnacle of not interesting. Because
they're up there with my Steelers, for sure.
Yeah, I think the Bucks win this one purely because of the defense. I'm going to go 17-13 Bucks win. Another one of their teams that like feels like it's going to be.
They lost 3 straight: Detroit, Atlanta, and Buffalo. They had Buffalo last week. All of them.
That's right, on Thursday night.
But
yeah, they lost on Thursday night, and they almost, if Chris Godwin looks up on that Hail Mary, they win that game. Mm-hmm. And whether that's more on Buffalo or Tampa, you make the decision. But yeah, I think the Bucks win this thing 17-13. Just a battle of two middling teams that are most likely looking forward to next year.
Yeah, years away. This 1 o'clock window ends with another thriller. It's jam-packed with quality games tomorrow at 1. Cards at Browns.
Yeehaw. And the Cardinals are now starting. The Cardinals are doing everything in their power
to tank.
Yeah, they're like, all right, Josh Dobbs actually came in here and looked good. We need to get him out of here.
Get him out of here.
And now they're going with, what's his name? The guy from Houston? University of Houston. What's his name?
Kyler's not bad. They just sold Dobbs to sell him?
Yeah. Well, they thought he could, but I don't think he is able to play.
We were right. The Fortnite came out, and he was like, guys, actually, give me another week.
Yeah, Clayton Tune. Clayton Tune is starting for the Cardinals on Sunday. Yeah, Cleveland. What a treat. Your first NFL start, and you are facing maybe the best defense in football. So that's a fun time. It's just like waking up at 7 a.m. and getting
Garrett
slapped in the face.
Euro stepping over people.
Yeah, it's like, good luck. Yeah, I'm gonna go Browns win this game. I'm gonna go 24-0.
Yeah, with Clayton soon. Definitely. I'm changing my score from 17-13 to 17-0 because the Browns offense still ain't doing shit, but that Browns defense is absolute clamps. So 17-0 against Clayton Tune and the Cardinals.
I think you have a defensive touchdown tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm going to
probably.
go Denzel Ward taking to the house. Dude, my dad in the Super Bowl won, I think, $5,000 because he bet that Sky Moore would have a touchdown, that there would be a defensive touchdown, and A.J. Brown would have a touchdown. He won like $5,000 or something like that. It was crazy.
Oh, that's pretty hype.
He grittied. I've never seen that before.
He gritty?
Yeah.
You said 24-0?
24-0.
That's what. Yeah. I. To the 4 o'clock games, which would have been interesting because it could have been the battle of two rookies, but Colts at Panthers, and only one rookie will be there, and it's not the exciting one. So I'm going to go that the Panthers actually win back-to-back games here. Catch a little heat under that Bryce Young. Gets it flowing a little bit more. He's in the groove of things now. I don't think that Colts team is too good. And I think Gardner Minshew's peak has happened already in that first game and that game against the Browns. Like, there's a couple games every year. Like you said, Gardner Minshew will look like a guy. But he always comes back down to earth, and he has that turnover issue, and he's going to put his team in a bad position early, I feel like, and the Panthers are just going to coast late, and then they're going to win 24-21. It's still going to be close at the end, but Minshew's going to fuck up.
I'm going to go Colts win this one. I don't believe in the Panthers. Their defense is good. Their defense is actually kind of legit. Like, if they had any kind of offensive cohesion, like, they'd be in the thick of it right now. Panthers are in a really bad spot. Like, just like they gave up that first-round pick, gave up DJ Moore, and they are nowhere near where they feel like they should have been. And they got some injuries on that defensive side of the ball, too. I think the Colts win it. I think they put up, what did I say? We'll go like 21-10. Colts win.
There we go.
Gardner Minshew's got another week of thunder.
This week, what I've just realized after looking at all these games, there are so many shit games. And then there's just like 4 premium 5-star matchups.
And then one of them is at 9 in the morning. Like one of the good matchups.
It's actually this one's another shit one. Giants at Raiders. The Giants, I have no clue who their quarterback is. Some dude they took off the streets back there playing QB. Or is Tyrod Taylor back this week?
I don't think so. He's got broken ribs, right?
Yeah, so some rando off the streets playing QB for them. The Raiders defense against bad teams hasn't looked too bad this year. They've actually played nice against some pretty bad teams. So I'm going to take the Raiders here. I also think the firing of McDaniels and their new coach gave some he was pumping me up when I would listen to his press conference the other day. He was talking about touching people. I'm going with the Raiders 27-10. He's going to get his first dub. Fire lit under the Raiders players' asses.
I'm trying to see if Tyrod is starting or not.
Jimmy Garoppolo benched too.
Jimmy G benched.
That's always good.
All right, so Tyrod Taylor and Darren Waller were both placed on IR. So that is pretty much
That's brutal for them.
Yeah.
Season.
And the Giants or the Raiders are starting Aiden O'Connell, who looked not great against the Chargers. But like you said, I think these teams seem to get fired up when coaches get fired that they didn't like. And I don't think Josh McDaniels' popularity was very high on that team. And just look at Chandler Jones's TikToks to figure that out.
Wow.
And also Antonio Pierce, I think, is a very popular coach there. Very good player. Played for the Commanders for a little bit. Was a Pro Bowl linebacker for the Giants, ironically. But yeah, I mean, on games like this where you have two teams that are not too talented, not really going anywhere, you do look at what talent they have. And right now, the Raiders severely outweigh the Giants in terms of talent. So I'm going to go Giants or Raiders win 24-7.
Yeah. I think Antonio Pierce is going to do a good job, actually.
Yeah.
Last time they brought in a mid-season coach, he took them to the playoffs.
Rich Bisaccia, who they
and
probably
then they
should
were
have
like,
just
guess
kept.
what? You don't got the job.
Yeah.
Turned their whole season around, and they were like, thank you, but we're good.
That's the thing that I think you see is like the head coaching position can be overrated if you have really good coordinators. And like you wonder if you see in the future like these head coaches who are more along the lines of like just like delegators, and then you have coordinators who can specify with their units.
No. I don't know. Head coaches, a good head coach though, tops any coordinator, I feel like. Look at my boy Mighty T out there. Somehow just Tomlin in his way to dubs.
But in a way he's like a leader.
That's what people have been saying. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I mean yeah. But people have been using his name as a fucking adjective this whole week. Since that dub. Not this whole week. Since the dub against the Titans. They've been like, Tomlin fucking finds a way somehow.
It may be the ugliest thing you've ever seen.
First team in NFL history to be outgained every week through 8 weeks. And
ridiculous.
Have a winning record. Every other team hasn't had a winning record. There's like 16 teams. Everyone else, no winning records.
It's ugly, dude.
And the only other team to finish with a winning record after being outgained like 8 weeks was us last year.
He's fighting off being unemployed. He's like, I will not do it. And he'll still have, like, I mean, he still doesn't have a losing season. And he's not going to have another one, I don't think.
I don't think so either, but we'll knock on wood. People are saying we're going to make the playoffs and just get our fucking doors blown through.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Sunday Night Football. No, never mind. Not Sunday Night Football. Just Cowboys Eagles is still 4-25.
Game of the week.
This one's a weird one for me. Hard to pick. Hardest game to pick because both teams have been kind of inconsistent this year. I mean, the Eagles continue to win, but they don't play their best football every week. I think we still haven't seen their best football yet. The Cowboys, they'll roll teams, and sometimes even decent teams they'll roll, and then the next week they're losing to the Cardinals or getting rolled by the 49ers. So this one was hard for me to pick, but I'm leaning towards the home team, which is the Eagles. And I just think no one's going to be able to stop A.J. Brown. That dude's a fucking monster. He might get some MVP votes this year. We have 2 receivers in the MVP race, possibly. Tyreek Hill and him, but he is definitely taking the lead in that race, at least for Offensive Player of the Year. So I'm going Eagles 31-27 and a sort of shootout here. Final drive's going to win the game.
Yeah, it's hard to play in the length these days. And I think the Cowboys are just like, people are like desperate to say like the Cowboys are back and like the Cowboys are a different team, and it's just not the case ever. And I think the Eagles,
not the case.
It's always not the case. And yeah, I think the Eagles win this one in a late game win. I'm going to go 24-20. Eagles win. You got 2 really good defenses. The one thing that I could see happening is I could see Dak taking advantage of this Eagles secondary. CeeDee Lamb, I think, could have a big day.
But he's going to throw a couple picks to the new acquisition for him, Kevin Byard.
Yeah, I don't know. They're a slow secondary. So
they are.
But it's hard to run against them. The Commanders did it last week. They were able to run against them a little bit. See if you can get Tony Pollard going in the passing game. Screen games, I think you could kill the Eagles a little bit. But yeah, I think the Eagles ultimately win this one. Like you said, AJ Brown's ridiculous, and they just seem to find a way no matter what.
Just toss it up.
Yeah,
just toss it up to AJ. Sunday Night Football, legitimately this time. This one's gonna be fun. I think this is gonna be the shootout. Bills at Bengals. I think it's going to be a shootout. First reason, Josh Allen has had a couple bad weeks in a row, and he rides that roller coaster more than anyone else. This dude's about to have a 4 or 5 touchdown game this week. But I think Joe Burrow is still going to outduel him. I think Joe Burrow has found his groove again. He was 28 for 32 against that 49ers defense, and he just looked phenomenal after that bye week, and he was getting everyone involved finally. So I think he's the better quarterback in my opinion. So better quarterbacks win in the duel when it's a shootout. It's going to be 38-20, 34 Bengals.
Yeah, the Bengals are doing their thing now where they're finding their stride again. Big game, emotional game, I'm sure, because it's literally the exact same game with DeMar Hamlin stuff. But the Bills, I think, are being held together by strings right now. The offense is just staggering so bad. And, sometimes they look great, and then other times they just look disjointed. And the defense is, good, but, sometimes it's just not enough. And right now I just think, the Bengals seem to have the Bills' number a little bit. And I think they ultimately get it going. 31-21. I think the Bengals win.
Yep.
31-28. Let's go 31-28. Let's switch that up.
31-28.
I am the king of switching up the score as soon as I say it.
The king of the switch up. It's all good. Monday Night Football thriller to end the week. Chargers at Jets. I'm rolling with the Jets. This is a game. The Chargers, every game they're winning, wants to throw it. They want to throw the game. Their head coach is like, hey, we're on our 30-yard line. We're up 3. It's 4th and 5. Let's go for it. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why not right here? Or they're like, punt it. 2 minutes left. We'll get the ball back.
We're going to get a fumble.
They just have terrible decision makings from the higher up. It's hurting Herbert's play at this point. He hasn't looked the same as the past couple years. He hasn't elevated from his first year. His first year in the NFL was his best year. And since then, he hasn't, you're supposed to grow. He's been the same guy every year. And so he's not getting the coaching that's necessary to improve. He's just he's relying on his talent only. And that Jets defense is, like they said, they made great quarterbacks look foolish or something like that. Robert Saleh said something like that. So I'm rolling with the Jets. The Chargers are going to find a way to lose this game 21-17.
Man, what an unsobering angle. Just seeing fucking the man tits out. I just fucking can't even see the. It was just folded up. It was just trust MVP. I think the Jets win this one. The Jets are just electric for some reason, man. They're I feel like everybody is behind them right now. Everybody just wants Zach Wilson to do well. And I think they win this one just based off the fact that, like, I just think Brandon Staley is going to trip over his own whatever.
Feet. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's just going to trip over his own feet against
His
a really
massive
good
cock.
exactly for the defense, for the Jets defense, and like they are just such a game wrecking unit. And in New York, I'm going to go 20 to 16. Jets win. Justin Herbert turns it over late.
See, Brandon Staley is just proves the fact that you can't have too big of a cock because only someone with the biggest of balls is going for it on your own 22-yard line consistently.
Just consistently just having way too much confidence.
The analytics. No fucking way.
I think the best thing for the Chargers this year is to underwhelm and have him fired because that team is so talented. Like, there's no excuse for how middling they are.
Should be fired. He should have been fired. That's the one more firing I need. McDaniels was the first one, but this is my key one. I've been raving about this dude for so long now. Get him out of LA. He shouldn't have a job. He's a terrible head coach.
Yeah, he's got to go. And yeah,
the defense is supposed to be the side of his ball, and they're dog shit on defense.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. And he got two great defensive ends, too, in Bosa and Mack.
Exactly. And a great safety. And some good cornerbacks. Like, that defense should be good.
Yeah.
But it's dog shit.
Like usually. I said, too much talent to be doing what they're doing. They should be up there with the Chiefs every single year. And it's just like, they can't figure it out.
They should be rivaling them. It should be a great rivalry, but it's not because we know who's going to win every time.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, then. Is that all
parlay of the week?
All right, here we go.
That was all our picks. Parlay of the week. Had to make an adjustment because Matt Stafford isn't playing. So, Commanders money line plus 126. Bucks money line plus 128. And Chiefs money line minus 124. That will get you probably around $75. Didn't do the math because I had math for the other. Yeah, I had math for the other one.
FanDuel has their profit boost, so you could probably end up with a little bit of like $100 for a $10 bet.
There we go. And if you're frisky tomorrow, add the Rams in there. That one wouldn't do really, but I already committed, so there you guys go. That's 211 if that all happens. And if you're feeling super fucking frisky, because I added this one to my parlay too. Take the Seahawks, and you got 687. We put $20 down, so I'm looking at a big payout if it all happens. But this Rams are really scaring me now.
But if it all comes out, you'll be sitting here. You're bound to hit something, you know.
Dog, I haven't hit since we started doing the segment, so maybe it's the segment's fault, but.
Yeah,
it's probably mine for choosing mostly underdogs, but underdogs rule.
Yeah, I go hard on the betting on the NBA. I do a lot of those props, and 2 nights in a row now, I've needed literally one more thing. Like last night, I needed Giannis to have one more rebound. He had 9. I needed him to have 10, and he didn't. And I needed one more point. One more point. From Joel Embiid today. He had 26, and I bet that he would have 26.5. So he needed one more point to get where I needed him to go. And he sat almost the entire fourth quarter because the game was in hand. And I was like, God, just send him in there to get fouled or something. Like, come on now. But yeah.
I would have been so pissed.
This is my mistake. I trusted the MVP. I trusted the MVP, and he let me down. Not the first time.
Absolutely.
But yeah, other sports news, Rangers, like you talked about. Rangers won the World Series. So boring. It was like by far the lowest rated World Series ever, as far as like viewership. Sixers off to a hot start, 4-1 right now. Kelly Oubre is looking like a madman. He's averaging like 20 points a game or something like that. So I'm getting very close.
All the bitches love Kelly Oubre.
And I'm getting dangerously close to our year territory once again, which is where I always get around this time. Where I'm like, dude, Maxey and Embiid's two-man game, and the surrounding role players, like, we might be able to do this thing. And the fact that it doesn't seem like Lillard and Giannis are meshing the way that people wanted them to. You got two ball-dominant guys.
Just remember, it always takes time.
It always does, yeah.
It didn't work too hot in the beginning for the Heat. They eventually found it, and then they lost in their first year in the finals. So
yeah,
doesn't always work instantly. So
absolutely, yeah,
we'll see. Definitely.
So you wanted to talk about your Steelers?
Yeah, I mean, another Steelers win. Another Steelers way win. Of course, trailing all three quarters. Come back in the fourth. A game you're never really afraid. You feel like you're winning this game all the way through. At this point, if you're a Steelers fan, you're like, oh, we're within 3 most of this game. Most likely we're going to win in the fourth. Final drive, Kenny. Not even final drive, but late game, Kenny. Puts together a nice long touchdown drive at the end there. Had a couple nice passes. And honestly, the past 2 weeks, haven't had an issue with play calling yet. I mean, there were a couple still in there where I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? But, like, I think it's more been quarterback play the past couple weeks for the offensive struggles. Like, Kenny was sailing a couple passes this week, and it just wasn't acceptable. Last week, Mitch came in. It's a wash. As soon as Mitch comes in, it's like, game over. He's ass. I'm over Mitch Trubisky. But I think the improvement's coming for that offense a little bit. I really hope so. Because the defense is so stout. They came up big again after the offense fails to put the game away on the final drive. And then the Will Levis marching downfield. We have 3 dropped interceptions, so it just feels like one of those drives where, oh shit, he's about to do it to us. It's about to be one of those where you just keep giving up him more opportunities, and he eventually makes it happen. And thank God for Quan Alexander falling back into that zone, deep zone, because
the balls on Will Levis
probably comes down with the ball.
The balls on Will Levis to throw that same exact pass.
It in there.
2 times he was like,
he had him if Quan doesn't get there though, because I don't think the safety jars that ball loose.
Yeah. That's just a rookie mistake, like missing the disguise, like twice in a row. Missing the disguise, not seeing the linebacker waiting underneath. But yeah, I mean, honestly, like I came out of that game thinking like Will Levis could be something. Like he's got maybe one of the quickest releases I've ever seen. Like he gets rid of that ball, like it's not that like the timing, but like the pocket will be collapsing, and his motion is like so short and he's able to like fire it so quickly. Like it's impressive, and it kind of reminds me of Rodgers a little bit. Not to like make that comparison, but I think he could be good, man.
No, he definitely has proved some things through his first couple weeks. Definitely took a step back as I thought he would do. You know, the Steelers' defense isn't no slouch, but he definitely put up numbers. He couldn't finish the drives, though, and that's usually how the Steelers' defense play. We're going to play in those 80 yards. We're going to give you those first 80 yards are free. But you get to that red zone, and we're going to fucking clamp you down.
Those 20 yards are a $5,000 charge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Steelers, it was one of those games where you're like, this is exactly what you thought was going to happen. Like, there's not one fan that went into that stadium and thought this game's going to go any other way. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, man, where it's like you feel like you're on the borderline of like, we need to completely blow it up and like figure something else out. And then you're also like, this team could win the fucking go to the AFC Championship game if they're lucky. And Deontay Johnson. How about a coming out party for Deontay Johnson? A welcome back party.
So Deontay's. Well, I mean, against the Jags, he had a great game. Besides the first drive, I mean, Deontay's really fucking good. It's getting them both involved though. Like when Deontay is super involved, George isn't getting any targets. When George is super involved, Deontay's getting no targets. So it's like you got to find a balance somewhere. And George Pickens, you got to get the ball. Oh, I mean, his toe drag,
yeah.
Oh my God!
All the room in the world. Like, you know what happened? This man bet the under, and he was like, "There's no fucking way I can catch this ball."
No, I have no clue. He honestly, his body language scares me a little bit because he does not look like he's having any fun there, like the past couple weeks.
Whenever you hear him talk or anything, though, he does seem like your classic wide receiver who's like super just like off the cuff and like you never know what's going to happen. Like he'll just randomly have a trade request one day and you know, he is the king of making like the most incredible catches that don't count.
Oh, did you see that sideline snag?
Yeah, like over the bench.
Like right after, dog, towards toe taps the bench. He's like, tap toes. Like, why? You're like, why didn't you do that in game though?
No pressure, so he was fine. He was like, watch this.
Oh my God, he could be something, but I mean,
he will be. He'll be good. He'll get it once they get a better offensive coordinator. They'll figure it out. All right, should we wrap it up now? We're not going to
blow it up either.
We're over an hour in.
Yeah.
All right, we will see how wrong we are this week. We were very wrong the last time we did picks, so much so that we took another week off. And
quick record counter. 42-31 me, 43-30 you, and we disagreed on 1, 2, 3, just 3 games this week. So we'll see who has the lead when we come back, you know?
Yeah. May the odds be ever in your favor, as they say in the Hunger Games.
Absolutely. I'm trying to
we will see you guys again on Tuesday. We were trying to be a little bit more professional and a little less professional. Yes.
Casual. But
we're trying to be more professional. Still got a little bit casual in us. We are going to probably play some Fortnite tonight.
Absolutely.
And,
right as soon as we hop off this beat. Catch us in Tilted, bitches.
Yeah. Come and get it. We may be wrong on our picks 90% of the time, but you come at us at Risky Reels, and it's a different story. Come at us at Risky Reels with that pump shotgun and see how confident we are.
Absolutely.
All right. Until next time, everybody.
We'll catch you later.